I've heard that life is what you make it. I say make room to grow. I'm your host, LaWanda Dockery, and this is the Make Room to Grow podcast. It all started with a dream about growing food, and who would ever imagine that growing food would lead to me learning about personal growth and development? Well, it did, and I want to bring you along for this beautiful ride. Thank you so much for joining me. Hello, Grow Nation. I hope this finds you well and looking forward to getting into the garden this weekend. So just to recap on the state of affairs in our garden, we are transitioning over to fall. I have my seedlings that I've put out for collard greens, Russian red kale, cabbage, spinach. The spinach actually went to seed on me because of the change in weather, but that's fine. We'll plant some more. We have some Swiss chard out there, and so we're transitioning over. I also have some eggplant that I wanted to put in last minute. I had those as seedlings for a while, so I figured why not try my hand at that. We have some cherry tomatoes that are still coming along. Some of our cucumbers are still putting out cucumbers on the vine. We've put in new cucumber plants just to refresh that to see if we can get another harvest. We also have lots and lots and lots of cayenne peppers. And as of late, we've been getting lots of okra. We also were able to get some jalapeno peppers. We were waiting for those to come in, and those finally came in. And then we also got a surprise, which is what I want to talk about today. My husband had about 3 different pole beans that were in the raised bed out there, and they were just taking up space forever. Didn't really seem that they were going to do anything. The leaves turned yellow, turned like a copper color, turned back green when we gave it some fish emulsion. And finally, he took out 2 of the plants and just left 1. And it's sitting at the end of the bed, and we had no idea that anything would ever happen. And maybe a week or 2 ago, I was like, oh, I see blooms out there. Last week we go, and there were plenty of beans to pick. So they were beautiful pole beans. And we were like, wow, we didn't expect that. That was like a nice bonus harvest. This reminded me of a song that I loved growing up. I don't know how you all are, but I am a former hip hop junkie. And so when I was growing up, there was a song called the Symphony. It was DJ Marley Marl, and he had Big Daddy Kane, Master Ace, Cool G Rap, Craig G on there. And depending upon who your favorite rapper was, you waiting for that verse to come. But the whole beat was hot from the beginning to the end. And I'm like, this reminds me of the symphony. Gardening, it reminds me of the symphony. Like you have this collective. You have all these things that you're planting, positioning, putting in your garden from the spring through the fall. And at one point or another, like my husband says, they all get a solo, right? And so that was what I thought of with this whole beans coming up at the last minute. We've forgotten about them. My husband was like, I turned my back on those things. I wasn't feeding them or anything. And here it is. And he says, seeds that you planted years ago, seeds that you put in the ground years ago, metaphorically speaking, are going to come back and give you a harvest. And I said, wow, this is truly a symphony. How do you want to orchestrate this symphony? We get to co-create with God, of course, right? But how do you want to do that? What do you want to do when you're planning out your garden, even for the fall? What do you want to mature first? What do you want to be the first solo act? What do you want to be the second solo act? What do you want to try your hand at? And whether or not you get it, at least you tried. Maybe it'll mature, maybe it won't. What is it that you want to create for your beautiful symphony of food out in your garden? And not only that, but what about in your life? I think of prayers that I've put forth in seasons past that I just prayed into them, and God put them on my heart, and they seemed like it wouldn't budge, seemed like nothing would change. And now in this season, we're actually reaping a harvest. What is it that you want to play out? What is it that you want to orchestrate? Ask God to help you, guide you, so you can co-create this symphony that there are things that you think aren't going to come to pass, but they are. We're in a beautiful symphony, even of life. We're in different seasons, different things take prominence. So I wanted to leave you with that as we're turning to fall gardening, as we're thinking even about things that we want to do next year, and as you're thinking of life. We're embarking upon fourth quarter pretty soon of this year. Start thinking about, what do you want for the rest of this year? What do you want for 2022? Set these goals. Make them with God. Ask him, God, what should I be praying into? What should I be looking forward to? I just pray that you are able to co-create with God, not only just in your garden, because I'm partial. I want you guys out there in the garden, but I also want you to be co-creator in your life. So until next time, I want you to be intentional about those things and areas in your life where you are going to make room to grow.